While motorists in Ibadan, Oyo State, have described the latest petrol price increase as unfortunate and capable of further widening the poverty gap. A visit to petrol stations by our crew across the Asian city revealed few queues, while most petrol stations remained shut owing to unavailability of the essential commodity or deliberate refusal to sell. In the meantime, a cross-section of Nigerians who spoke with Arise News lamented the development, while also appealing to the federal government to consider the interest of the masses while developing policies and programs.
Well, it is unfortunate that we still have to cope with another increment, barely 2 months after the new pump price was changed. We all woke up to this one today, and here we are again. So it is going to actually impact on the standard of living of everybody. So people are going to find it difficult to actually be able to raise their standard of living. So, and it is also going to impact on productivity, because look at us here, we are supposed to be in the office. Of course, we have to find our way to the office. And how do we get that? We need fuel in the car.
Since where our president we've not achieved anything. When Jonathan was there, we buy fuel 180, 97 naira. Valley left, he left the fuel at the rate of 180. But now we are buying fuel 1,001 in Bovas. NNPC is 1,025 naira. Other filling station 1,413. Which is all of us that we are doing transportation, we didn't see anything to benefit.
Right, we're joined now by the first Deputy President of the Trade Union Congress, Tommy Etum Okon. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
On Newsnight. Well, the TUC is coming up with some demands, including a return to the June 2023 rates of about 195 or 238 naira. But first off, how did TUC come about, the subsidy in cost of production? Because you're asking for that as a way out, as a solution to this fuel price crisis.
Well, let me just start by, the major issue which I've listened to some of those contributions by the people is a very sorry situation. That we have a government that does not listen to advice, especially coming from the professionals, but depend on the politicians. Because the major challenges we have was floating of our naira. And we look at it that if government take a deliberate action, to pick, the naira value in terms of the dollar, at least for maybe 1,200 or even below that will also help to bring down the price of PMS, because whatever in that oil sector is driven by foreign exchange. So our concern was that. And if you look at the moment there's an increase in the foreign exchange, you find out that government will just wake up and jack up the price of PSN. And this is the real issue that the informal economy is driven with. You cut across whether you are a worker or you don't have anything to do. But as far as petrol is concerned, Nigeria know no other thing than that. The barbers, those who are, the vulcanizers, and these are the issues that are very concerned. So if you now say that you leave that market forces to drive, it therefore means that the extent of governance is defeated, because governance was not to impoverish the masses, rather to find the solutions which could take the masses out of poverty. So our concern, is not the technical term, but the practical reality on ground, because we are closer to the people. The politician can only go to the people when they are anxious or in times of, campaigning for election. Immediately after that, they shut. Because we have those in the National Assembly that will not say anything, but they will now pass all the blame, on the labor union. So it's an ill wind that blow nobody any good. Even the government now, they are also having this hit, because no matter how they want to pretend about it, it is not an huru for them.
Listening to you first, Clarify for us, because a while ago, our reporters were at that conference which the president spoke, and he brought the example of diesel, which probably don't sit well with what people are getting or what you're saying now. Are you saying that, well, with the subsidy removal, it is okay by TUC, because with the diesel example, it means that, look, the market forces is at play in that particular commodity?
You know, if you look at when the subsidy was removed ab initio, you know, we engaged government on some strategic policies that will have cushioned the effect. But as we speak, there's still rigmaroling about it. But not everybody goes for diesel. But when you come to PMS, virtually every home, because if you don't have life, you go for a generator. Those who goes for diesel are those who are the top players and which they understand. But the barbers will also look for PMS. So we feel that that is one of the major hits, you know, that hits the informal economy.
So what you're asking for is that subsidy should return.
It's not about the subsidy returning, but government should come up with a deliberate policy to deal with the, you know, the foreign exchange, you know, because the dollar rate in Nigeria today, a lot of people don't even believe in Naira again, but they depend on dollar. And when you look at the PMS, everything that has to do with, you know, this, the oil and gas sector is driven by dollar. So if government can come up and face that aspect, you know, strategically and say, okay, let us have official rate in terms of dollar, maybe said, okay, 800, you know, Naira, that, I think that will bring about the pricing of PMS to be lower, even more than what happened before the emergence of this administration.
Well, it's still very much unclear. I'm trying to understand this whole conversation. But again, let's take it further. The Dangote refinery was one of the key points that many Nigerians were told that will help mitigate the effect of the pricing. Now it's on full stream, yet what Nigerians are witnessing at the moment is something quite different. So to TUC, because you have your own researchers, what exactly, apart from the Naira X to dollar exchange rate which you highlighted, what other measures do you think that is responsible for this hike, and what do you think the government can do? When you say you want the government to come in, and you say specifically it's not subsidy, but they should come in with a policy, so it's confusing.
You know, when you look at what is happening now, we look at the issue of availability. We look at the issue of affordability, which is very key, and accessibility. The entire nation today, no state that is safe. You see a long queue. The question is, do Dangote have the capacity to produce the barrel of which Nigeria alone can consume? Then another thing we need to look at, from all assessment, from you know, those who are professional in the field, they have looked at what Dangote is supplying now, you know, to the economy. If Nigeria, let's say, maybe they consume maybe 15 barrel, you know, 15 million or 1,000 barrel, they consume it. Then, if within Nigeria we have that, then what happened? You know, in terms of allowing the private marketers to have access, you know, to Dangote, PMS from Dangote. And when you look at the...
well, isn't that why NNPC
No, I'm coming. I want to make a point. Yeah. Because when you now look at the Nigeria in terms of Port Harcourt refinery, we were given the hope that by September, it will be in full trim production. And this has been April. The next deadline was August. And the next deadline, September, up to today, Nobody is talking about what is happening there. So they're all focusing on Dangote, Dangote, Dangote. Even when government has decided, okay, let's sell crude to Dangote in Naira, do we have the stock for Dangote refinery? These are issues of availability of which we address today in
So is TUC, in clear-cut terms, is TUC in agreement with this increase?
We are not in agreement, and that's why we said that, yes, if they now said they have removed subsidy, that all subsidy is gone, let they look at another strategy which has to do with the dollar component. Because when our Naira was floated, it therefore means that whatever happened there is the market force. And we feel that they should have a concern, instead of allowing the dollar to be driven by the market force, the government should have a specific, a deliberate policy to peg the value of dollar, in that direction. That will automatically crash, the pricing of this petroleum product. Because
I heard you earlier, I would say that government should come up with an official forex rate. Yes. Aren't you concerned that we may go back to the arbitrage regime?
No. You see, what...
Or is that rate, should that rate be a singular rate?
No.
Okay.
You see, because at the moment, a dollar goes 1,600, thereabout, or more than that, So if you allow that to happen, maybe in the next week, you will have a dollar going for 1,700.
Yeah.
Now, if that happens, the tendency is that the price of petroleum product will go high again. And you don't just look at that sector again. Look at what is happening to the civil servant. Look at what is happening to the poorest of the poorest. Look at what is happening to the informal economy. So when you put a cricket of this, you know that government cannot allow that to happen. They must come up with a deliberate policy to see how they can checkmate for it. Because whatever, whether crude is sold to Dangote with Naira, there are foreign dollar component in the production. And once that is affected, the cost of production, putting all together, the marginal cost will determine the unit cost.
So as far as the TUC is concerned, the forex is at the root of...
The floating of our Naira becomes the major problem where we are getting it now. And this came when minimum wage, has negotiated. And if you look at even what is happening today, we discussed, some state governors have decided to just add what they like without reference to, the consequential adjustment, which is done by the Joint Public Service Negotiation Council. Apart from that at the federal, the state just feel if they say 2,000, 3,000, they will just add and say the 72,000, 73,000, 74,000. It's supposed not to be so.
Right. Well,
so that alone has impoverished the entire masses. Even the rich also cry in this context.
Absolutely. Dr. Tommy Etum Okon is first deputy president of the TUC. Thank you very much for joining us.